So, of course, now over the last several weeks, people have been coming out of the woodwork saying, "Oh, you're doing functional training now, are we?" I'm like, no, pumpkin, that's not what I'm doing. I hate the term functional training. I hate the term functional fitness. Why? Because every fitness modality is functional. Whether you're strength training, doing capacity work, HIIT training, endurance training, doesn't matter. It serves a primary function. Everything is functional. You know, you get that guy that's swinging kettlebells around like crazy and he says, "Hey, I'm doing functional training now." Then you ask him to define that. He'll probably look at you with a blank stare. I like to call it operational training because it's training that serves a specific purpose based on the workload that you're doing and the way you combine the modalities of training together to serve that specific outcome. A squat has a function. A deadlift has a function. Running is functional. Cycling is functional. Rucking is functional. Getting on a rowing machine and pounding out intervals has a function. Biceps curls is functional. Everything serves a function. It's about developing a body that can perform when performance is required, and you never know exactly when that might be. It may be a structured training session that you want to absolutely crush, but there's also unknown variables in place in this life that you don't see on the horizon that come at you at full speed. That means building muscle and strength. Number one, build the most important element first. You have to have that muscular foundation in place. Muscle is the currency of life. It is the most important factor. And if you don't have a concern about that, then you're absolutely screwed. It means developing conditioning and overall work capacity. It means carrying heavy shit and being able to carry that heavy shit through space and to be able to do it long enough that your body doesn't break down under load. It means being able to continue producing useful work when you're freaking tired, because life doesn't dictate the duration of things. You have to be able to push the envelope when things get absolutely soul crushing. And it means having enough physical capacity that the demands of real life do not exceed your preparation. That's the difference. Operational training is simply the ability to use your capability for a specific purpose. It's not about combining 5 random exercises together because you think that shit looks hard or it's going to completely, absolutely smoke you by the end of the session. I mean, that's fine if that is just your particular goal. But if it doesn't have a structured, coordinated purpose behind it, if it's not working on the 3 principles of what I like to call build, burn, and carry, then ultimately there's going to be a limiting element somewhere that you need to focus on. Fair enough, you might say. So tell me then, what is your goal? What are you trying to become operational for? Simple. My goal? To be a unit. Because at nearly 58 years old, I need to make sure that every element of my strength, capacity, and endurance is 100% on point to make sure I can handle anything that might cross my path. My entire livelihood depends on me being able to crush any obstacle that comes my way to the best of my genetic capabilities. So you have to keep pushing the envelope with your training, combining the right training modalities in the right level of time and effort, and implementing the right amount of recovery so you come out of that training a much better human being than you were before that can handle absolutely anything that might cross your path to a certain degree. The entire Becoming Dangerous philosophy is built around a very simple protocol of what I call build, burn, and carry. These 3 different things put into combination is what is going to build a phenomenal, dangerous physique that is truly operational. Build is building the physical hardware, having a real muscle and strength foundation with which you can utilize to power all the other elements of the build, burn, carry protocol. Burn is having the physical engine and capacity to drive the muscle forward and to truly do real work. Carrie teaches you how to put that hardware and that engine to work under load. This is why you don't have to choose between bodybuilding and conditioning, unless, of course, your primary objective is to stand on a competition stage, which that is no longer my prime objective, and it's not for probably 99.8% of the general population. Then, of course, conversely, there's also a very small segment of the population that wants to turn themselves into an absolute freaking indestructible machine at whatever age they are. That's my goal. And I understand that my channel, my coaching, my entire ecosystem is only going to be utilized by a very small segment of the population. And if you're one of those people, well, then you're my people, and you're going to be interested in how this entire methodology moves forward and evolves over time. So part of my becoming dangerous in 10 weeks, or 10 weeks to dangerous, to prepare for a upcoming, now 3 weeks away, Go Ruck Tough event or competition or challenge for me, is I knew I needed to be doing copious amounts of rucking. I needed to be moving my body through space with a lot of weight. I knew that I needed to maintain muscle and keep doing very heavy strength work. A lot of that was built around heavy deadlifts, heavy carries, squat variations, pressing variations, overhead pressing variations, etc. And that had been happening. But after I did a 4-hour long ruck on a particular Sunday just a few weeks back, I noticed a couple things within my training that were a glaring weakness. My middle energy system, my real work capacity was definitely and had been taking a hit. And I knew that's something that I need to work on. I know that right now I can put 45 pounds on my back and go walk for 6 hours. That's not the issue. If I can do that, and I know I can do that well, especially under the stress of being in a challenge environment, then what I needed to do was pull back on that little bit and allocate that time to working far more on my short burst capacity, because that's where I was lacking. Going through the rigors of a bodybuilding competition all throughout 2025 had diminished my VO2 max and that work capacity, that short burst stuff. How hard can you go for 20, 30 seconds or a full minute? That's what I needed to work on. So I pulled back on the long rucks. Now, I generally am not rucking more than about an hour at a time, because I feel that area of my training is where it needs to be for what I have coming up. And I'm very happy with that. Plus, I don't want to be regularly doing 2 super long amounts of rucking, because I don't want to sacrifice or inhibit any muscle mass or have that go anywhere, because Lord knows you're going to need as much of that as you can possibly hold on to, because that is a premium tissue that I don't want to be wasting. So I started working far more on my aerobic capacity in the gym, or work capacity. So there's a lot more intervals on the Echo bike, intervals on the C2 rower, working through workouts to where I might be picking up really heavy freaking shit multiple times, and then immediately jumping on that Echo bike and cranking out a 15-calorie interval. So I started lengthening the intervals on the Echo bike, lengthening the intervals, and making the workload harder on the C2 rower, but mingling in those hard effort things like heavy farmer's carries, heavy D-ball lifts up and over the shoulder, and heavy sled pushes and sled pulls. All this to say is, if you have a particular goal in mind, which mine at this stage, and I would have to suspect it is for most hyper-driven individuals out there, is to be the best version of yourself that you can possibly be. The ability to handle anything that comes your way, to take on all comers, to be truly dangerous at any age. I call it the dangerous standard, and I am working toward that standard. And through that work towards accomplishing the 9 standards that I've outlined in the dangerous standard, I've covered all of my bases, and I know ultimately when all 9 standards are met, that there's not going to be an area of my training and fitness that is not going to be at a level that I desire in order to be the most capable human that I can be. I want to be built by capability. It's not given, it's earned. And this is the stage of the game where that is of utmost importance to me. I'll be outlining the dangerous standard in the next video, and I'm about to do a huge website re-release. If you've been to my website recently, you see that there are a lot of changes being made. There's a complete overhaul happening because it's building towards something very, very exciting. I will be launching all elements of it, hopefully in the next week, maybe 2 weeks, if everything comes together the way I've planned. And I'll not only be releasing the dangerous standard, something that you can work toward to be the most dangerous human that you could possibly be, but once the standard is on there, I'll also be releasing a free ebook. It's more of a field manual that walks you through steps to take to make you a stronger, more capable human, which will propel you forward to be able to complete the dangerous standard also. So go to www.robgoodwinfitness.com. Link is down below. There's some breadcrumbs out there. I'm talking a little bit about the direction that I'm going into. There's a new blog that is being updated regularly that also gives some great information, quick reads, nothing extensive. And like I said, on the next video, I'm going to be unveiling what the dangerous standard is. And I'm also going to be taking you with me out into the field and showing you particular signature workouts that I've built and I'm doing very regularly in order to fulfill not only the dangerous standard, but to make me be able to competently complete the Go Ruck Tough Challenge coming up in 2 weeks, but then to keep exceeding that moving forward and becoming a better human every single day. So thanks for hanging out. Thanks for joining along. Upcoming videos are going to get even more exciting, stressful, not really sure, but you're going to be along for the successes, the failures, the triumphs, the tragedies, the mistakes that I make, how I pivoted from those mistakes in order to continually be moving down the road to become better. So thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm out.